Many all camps are on the rise right now, right? There's a small case for it.
When I was, struggling to pay rent every month and, not being able to ever go out and do anything, when I was just couldn't afford groceries, I couldn't afford, I'd be sitting, I'm thirsty, needing a bottle of water, questioning, should I go spend $1.50 to go get a bottle of water or just go home and drink out of the sink? All the time, every month. I mean, right now I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna pay my bills, and I got a credit card, and I was so excited to, be financially responsible, and then just paychecks were gone before I could even do it. It wasn't even enough. I find myself sometimes barely being able to get out of bed. I think with school on top of 2 jobs, I can't remember the last day that I've not had to wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. You find a lot of times that the jobs that you really want to do are the ones that are not going to sustain you well. One has to be a passionate job, and one has to be one that's just kind of what you have to do. There's not even really freedom to look for another job or change your second job with another job. It's, you kind of feel bound to where you've fallen into. I think that's probably the biggest frustrator for me is, there's no freedom. It's just kind of like a mouse trap at some point. I think CBA has gotten to the point where I have to just treat it like work. I definitely go back to the outlet that Pilsen made is. I've always loved, that blue collar kind of work, and but it's a mix of that and actual artistry. You need to go out. You need to have a social life. You need to go have a night at a bar with a friend, or even by yourself, or go out and eat at a place that is near and dear to you once a month, or at least once a month. You need to be able to buy clothes and groceries, and I think that's livable wage, is being able to not have to sacrifice, who you actually are, instead of just becoming, just basically just a chronic worker, actually being a person. So it's livable in that you're not dead, but it's not a life. You're just, I don't know, it's such a stagnant, starving artist mentality, and that's a terrible way to look at anything, because it's not how good things come about. I don't like giving advice very much, but and I'm just one person, and everyone's been trying to figure out these questions forever. But I do think it is. I think it is up to people our age to actually do something about it. I hear a lot of times, so there's this call for revolution and change, but change isn't easy. Change requires sacrifice. Change requires to dismantle everything that was known, and to go through some tough times. And I think we have to do it differently than all our parents and our parents' did it, and we have to stop worrying about ourselves. Any food job, when you're bringing out dishes, you're not going to just throw them into the dish pit with all this nasty food on. You got to scrape it off. You got to pour it out. You got to kind of sometimes wipe it off. So it's the guy who has to deal with it the worst, sitting in the dish pit, has an easier time. And then you get a clean plate.